Hello, and welcome to First Local for Tuesday, October the 13th. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Right now we're waiting for Doug Ford's press conference. He's in Toronto today, not at Queen's Park though, and he will be joined by Rod Phillips, who's the Minister of Finance, and also Pragmeet Sakaria, who is the Minister of Small Business and Red Tape Reduction. But before we head over to Doug Ford's press conference, we're going to head over to Weather Daniel. What's up, buddy?
Hi, Weather Daniel here with your On TV Weather Minute for Tuesday, October the 13th. Let's take a look at our camera now. You're going to see it's a beautiful sunny day out there. Might see a lingering shower coming in tonight. Our camera is brought to you, by the way, by wirelesscom.ca. Check them out for all the services that they have to offer. And our weather is brought to you by Northern Lights Detailing. And we're going to see overnight a chance of some showers Thursday and Friday, or actually rather Wednesday and Thursday, 13 and 9 degrees with some periods of rain. Friday we get a break, mix of sun and cloud, high of 8. And then overnight we are going to see temperatures dipping down to the single digits, and we're going to continue to see temperatures down in the low single digits during the day. Rain on Sunday and Tuesday. This has been your On TV Weather Minute. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you very much, Weather Daniel, for that update on what's going on outside. But before we head over to Doug Ford, we're going to give you some numbers. We got the numbers for the last 2 days here in Ontario for COVID-19. So we had 746 new cases today, and we had 807 new cases on Monday. Over those 2 days, there was 12 new deaths. Most of the cases, 311 of them, were in Toronto, 135 in Peel, which is like Mississauga, Brampton, and 116 of those cases were in Ottawa. Good news is 1,292 of the cases of COVID-19 that were positive were resolved, and Doug Ford is coming to the podium, so we're going to head over to Doug Ford's press conference. Here we go.
Well, good afternoon. I hope everyone had a great, safe Thanksgiving weekend. And I was thinking over the weekend, there's still so much to be thankful for, even in these difficult times. We live in the greatest country, the greatest province, anywhere in the entire world. I'm here at Mama Martino's restaurant today with our Associate Minister for Small Business and Red Tape Reduction, Pragmeet Sakaria, and with our outstanding Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, Christine Elliott, and our local champion of Etobicoke Lakeshore, Christine Hogarth. But most importantly, we're here with Bruno, the Martino family, and their wonderful staff here at Mama Martino's restaurant in Etobicoke. This is a family who took a chance, rolled up their sleeves, and built a business from the ground up. They put hours of work and care into their business. Evenings, weekends, holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries. And they found success. They thrived in this neighborhood, in this community, and now as we face a global pandemic, they have found ways to adapt, to keep both their customers and staff safe, and keep the kitchen running as well. But my friends, the truth is, this is extremely difficult time for small businesses, especially the ones in the hospitality and entertainment sectors. And on Friday, as we saw a terrible record high of 939 new cases of COVID-19, as we saw hospitalization rates spike up, we had to take action. We had to make a very, very difficult but necessary decision to accept recommendations of the Chief Medical Officer of Health and close indoor dining at restaurants and bars in Toronto, Ottawa, and Peel. Patios, takeout, and delivery are still open. This was one of the toughest decisions I ever had to make as Premier, because even though it will help us prevent another full-scale lockdown, I know what this will do to businesses, many of whom are already struggling. And I want them to know we're doing everything in our power to support you. Nothing is off the table. That's why we're making $300 million available for affected restaurants and businesses. This is money to help with fixed costs, including property taxes, hydro, and natural gas bills. We're working right now on the quickest way to get this relief to businesses, and we will have more to say soon. We're also working with our federal partners to extend the commercial rent relief program until June 2021 for small businesses and their landlords. And they're also extending the wage subsidy until June 2021 and providing an additional $20,000 for a total of $60,000 in interest-free loans. And as Minister Sarkaria will share in a moment, our new Main Street Recovery Plan will help many small businesses get back on their feet, including funding to support you with your PPE. I want every business owner out there to know we have never stopped fighting for you. We will keep fighting for you. And my friends, we can all play a part in supporting our restaurants through this. And I have a message for the big third-party food delivery services like Uber Eats. It's time for you to do your part. We need you to help out these mom and pop shops right now. Please consider reducing the commission rates you charge the restaurants impacted by these new health measures. We can't have restaurants paying as much as 30% commission to have their food delivered right now. And I'm told that in some cases, that's on top of the service fees and delivery fees paid by consumers. And I understand that some of the companies are already reducing the commissions they charge the restaurants, so I thank you for that. So please do the right thing in these difficult times. And I want to call on the great people of this province right now. Please rally around your small businesses. If you can, if you have the means, please shop local, buy Ontario made. It has never been more important to support our own. It is as simple as ordering takeout. If each of us order takeout, even at least once a week, that's millions of dollars to support our mom and pop shops, restaurants, and small businesses. It can be the difference between a line cook getting a shift or not. It can make the difference between the delivery driver making rent or not. It can make the difference between a family keeping their businesses open or closing for good. Together, we can all make a huge difference. Let's come through for the small businesses. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister Sarkaria.
Thank you very much, Premier Ford, and thank you for your leadership throughout this pandemic and for standing shoulder to shoulder with hardworking small businesses across Ontario. You've been a champion for the thousands of job creators who have sacrificed so much to bring opportunity to Ontario. Local businesses help build our communities. During the good times, they've given us a place to gather as family and friends, a place to build memories and help grow our economy. As Ontario's Minister of Small Business and Red Tape Reduction, and as the proud son of two small business owners, I understand what Main Street businesses like these mean to the people who run them, the communities that sustain them, and as a province that needs them. COVID-19 has presented challenges unlike anything Ontario's restaurant and food service industry has ever faced. As the Premier announced, we are supporting them by making available $300 million to help significantly affected restaurants and businesses with fixed costs, building on a number of additional ways we're helping small businesses, like struggling restaurants, get through this pandemic as best they can. Throughout the pandemic, our government has provided support to local businesses with urgent financial relief. Our support also includes innovative measures beyond that to help small businesses across various sectors adapt and pursue new opportunities. Through our Main Street Recovery Plan, we're providing new supports and services to help small businesses and restaurants operate safer, recover faster, and rebuild stronger. Like modernizing regulations to allow delivery to restaurants and the businesses that serve them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This would help much-needed supplies reach businesses as efficiently as possible, reassuring them that they can maintain their operations during this difficult time. And it would give consumers greater confidence that their local store or restaurant will have what they need when they need it. We're also enabling bars and restaurants to include alcohol with food as part of their takeout and delivery orders. This gives them an additional revenue stream to help them adapt to current conditions while promising growth opportunities for the future. To help the thousands of small shops and restaurants that rely on Ontario Food Terminal, we are working to offer more local food and food products for sale. This would help local sellers increase their revenues, and it would provide wider range of products for buyers to use in their restaurants and businesses, giving their customers more reason to come back. To help nearly 23,000 small businesses across sectors, our government is also offering $2,500 grants through our Digital Main Street program. This will help them serve new and existing customers online. And with the new Digital Main Street squads, we're giving them access to the latest in digital marketing tools and support so they can attract more customers. We'll continue to look for ways to support small businesses in the weeks and months ahead. As I mentioned at the outset, our restaurants in particular have been hit hard, and now many are being presented with new challenges. We know that many were started with nothing more than a hope and a dream by newcomers to Canada. They've been passed down from one generation to the next. They've supported families. They've built communities. And now perhaps the best way we can support them through this pandemic is by ordering takeout as much as we can and celebrating efforts like Restaurant Canada's Takeout Day, today, tomorrow, and any day of the week. Whether it's an old favorite or a new discovery, take the opportunity to support a local small business in your neighborhood. Thank you, and I'd like to invite to the podium Member of Provincial Parliament for Etobicoke Lakeshore, Christine Hogarth.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Premier, for being here. You know, this is my home, Etobicoke. This is my neighborhood. I walk by this restaurant every single day, and I see Bruno out there preparing for the day. So I'd like to thank both the Premier and the Minister for delivering this important message to all of us today. There are hundreds of small businesses like Mama Martino's in our community and your community, and they all need our support right now. And I want to encourage everyone to consider simple actions to support restaurants and small businesses, like ordering takeout, picking up a coffee, or getting a haircut. You know, our government will continue to be there for Ontario businesses during these unprecedented times. But all of us should take pride in shopping local and supporting the home team. And I want to thank Bruno and his family and the thousands of entrepreneurs across Ontario who've made our communities that much more richer and vibrant in so many ways. Thank you everyone. Please shop local, shop with confidence, and thank you for being here today.
We'll go to the phone line for questions. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up, please.
Your first question comes from Antonella Artuso with the Toronto Sun. Please go ahead.
Hi, Antonella.
Thank you. Hello, Premier.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you about if you have any plans to move any further jurisdictions into a modified stage 2, in particular jurisdictions, say like York or Durham, which are adjacent to hotspots.
As of right today, Antonella, no, we don't, but I always sit down with our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Williams, and the command table and get their input, as I did on Friday. So I'm just praying we don't have to expand this, and everyone just keep following the protocols, and let's get these numbers down. Because I'll tell you, it's painful doing what we had to do last week, and it really weighs on you. But we all need to rally together, and as I said, you know, we all sat down over the weekend and thought, you know, we're going through tremendous difficult times for everyone, but there's still so many things that I'm grateful for and thankful for, and it's the people of Ontario that have all banded together, all 14.5 million people, and everyone's supporting each other, and I'm so thankful for that.
Follow-up?
Thank you. The Ontario Energy Board announced new electricity prices for November 1st. The OEB says that the average residential customer's bill will be going up. I'm wondering why that is, and what happened to your election commitment to lower bills?
Yeah, so on that, I understand. I think there's going to be the rate of inflation, or $2 a month, and I hate it. You have two choices. You have time of use still, you can reduce a little more, or you have your fixed rate. And it all depends on your situation at home. But if there was ever one thing, the mess we've ever inherited, we inherited a lot of messes, it's the energy file, and we're going to keep chipping away at it. We're subsidizing it, and subsidizing is still taxpayers' money to a tune of, I think it's up to $5.6 billion. We're able to keep the rates low. We ended up scrapping the Green Energy Act, and that's the root cause for all these prices that we're facing with hydro. As I talked to one of the hydro experts, they said if he didn't take office, the hydro rates would be in excess of 19 to 20% higher. But we're still working on it. We're still chipping away at it, not only for residents, but also for businesses to be competitive against markets in the U.S. and around the world that have lower rates than what we have. But hopefully in the next, within the year or even sooner, I know Minister of Energy, Greg Rickford, is working on a really, really good plan to be able to compete against the New York states, the Ohios, the Pennsylvanias, to make ourselves more competitive. So I know he'll be rolling that out in the next little while.
Next question.
Your next question comes from Katrina Clark with Hamilton Spectator. Please go ahead.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Premier. Thanks for
Christina.
taking my question.
Thank you.
In Hamilton, we're currently seeing an outbreak at a COVID outbreak at a spin studio that's now grown to at least 50 cases. Public Health says the spin studio followed all of the rules, but still more than 100 people may have been exposed.
Yeah.
This is quickly becoming one of the worst outbreaks outside of a long-term care home in the province. So in light of...
Talked to so many gym owners, and I feel bad for all the gyms, but I really feel terrible about the smaller gyms that have followed protocols and have done everything they possibly can to make sure that they have a safe environment. And going back to that spin class, what we're seeing when we do the contact tracing, this is the disturbing part. And one of the reasons, there's many reasons, one of the reasons we see an escalation in number of cases. So when we do contact tracing for each person, we now see upwards to 50 to 100 contacts. And then you start compounding that and multiplying it. So one person has 100 contacts, next person, and next thing you know, you're in the thousands, because those 100 people that they had contacted, now they have 100 people that have been contacted. And it gets into the tens of thousands, actually. So that's one of the reasons we saw an escalation. There's many others, but that's why we have to close them down. And it really bothers me because there's a lot of really great fitness facilities and gyms that are following really tight guidelines and protocols. So we're just going to have to hang in there for the next 28 days, see where the numbers are, and hopefully we'll be able to open these gyms up.
Follow up.
Thank you. So just to be clear, so are there certain other gyms, like would you be looking at closing gyms province-wide or closing specific gyms? Just looking for clarity there.
Yeah, well, right now I'll take the direction from Dr. Williams and see what the health team and the chief medical officer out in the Hamilton region have to say, and then we'll make a decision from there. But again, anywhere where there's a group of people and they're working out, that they were telling me that that's the reason they were closing down Peel, Ottawa, and Toronto, just to make sure that we can get our hands around the spike of, I think it was 939 cases on Friday that we saw. We saw a little dip over the weekend, but still, we've seen that happen before. We drop down a little and all of a sudden it shoots back up. So we can't take anything for granted and we can't let our guard down. But we're going to be there to support all the gyms, especially the small gyms out there, because it's difficult for them. A lot of these small gyms I've talked to are husband and wife teams that are opening their gyms. I know one, I was talking to Christine over the weekend about a gym in her area that they were both police officers, or I think one of them were police officers. They quit their job to open up a gym. How can your heart not break for these people and not be there to support them every which way we can? So we'll be there, and hopefully we can get through this and get them back open as soon as possible.
Next question.
Your next question comes from Haley Cooper with News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi, Haley.
Thank you. Hi, Premier. In your discussions...
Your next question comes from Haley Cooper with News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi, Haley.
Thank you. Hi, Premier. In your discussions that led to Friday's announcement of a partial lockdown in Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa, what was the magic number, or what is the magic number that you're looking for to lift this partial lockdown in 28 days? Is it back down to 200 cases or fewer for a trend of 14 days, or what?
Well, Haley, as the docs have always said, it's a trend of every 2 weeks, and we look at the cases. And I'm going to rely on their advice. I just can't give you an exact number, be it 200, 400. I'll wait for their advice, and I promise you that I'll be out here telling you exactly the number they're looking for. But right now, when we saw the spike basically double in about, well, I think it was about 5 days. It was 500 cases, all of a sudden it jumped up close to 1,000. All of a sudden we saw acute care beds increasing by 250% in the hospitals. We're concerned about the ICU capacity. On top of all this, we still have to keep up with the backlog surgeries as well. So we need to have room for the people in case they have to end up in the hospital. And that's the reasoning behind it. We want to contain the spread. And if you add up Ottawa cases, Peel cases, and Toronto, they were in the majority of all the cases in the entire province.
Follow-up?
Thank you. And my follow-up, you were speaking about hospitalizations and ICUs. Hospitals are still being allowed to not report their numbers on hospitalizations and ICUs. For example, on Sunday, roughly 40 hospitals didn't report the numbers, and this has been happening every weekend for quite a while. So 7 months into this, do you know why this is still happening and what specifically is being done to correct it?
Well, I'll ask the minister, and I apologize. I announced she was going to be here. I'm sure she's tied up in a meeting right now, but I'll ask the Minister of Health and be able to get back to you tomorrow. But I have always believed, be transparent. Tell the people the numbers. Tell them where we're at until they have a better understanding. And if I had the numbers off the top of my head, I'd tell you, Haley, but I don't have them off the top of my head.
Next question.
Your next question comes from Mike Crawley with CBC News. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Premier. Wanted to ask you about long-term care and the Red Cross being called in to a number of long-term care centers in the Ottawa area in Eastern Ontario. Our understanding is that this is something that your government asked for. So could you talk a bit about why specifically you asked the Red Cross to help out? What are the problems with these long-term care homes? Like, why weren't they ready to handle this second wave themselves? And is there any possibility that we're going to see Red Cross or other assistance called into homes elsewhere in the province?
Well, I always say it's all hands on deck. I want to thank Minister Blair for taking us up on our request to have the Red Cross in. I know we're working out the logistics with the federal government. There's certain long-term care homes that are needed and are in need more than others. So we're working that out, but the Red Cross is doing a great job. I want to thank the people from the Red Cross for pitching in. But again, I just want to make sure we have all the support we need in these long-term care homes. As the spread continues, Mike, and no matter if it's long-term care or any other areas, be it education or schools, the greater the spread in the community, the more of a chance it's going to get into long-term care homes. And I can assure you one thing, it's not the patients or the residents of long-term care that are bringing it in, because they aren't going back and forth. It's the community.
Premier, wanted to also ask you about what's going on with hospitalizations. In the overall in the province, but also specifically in places like Ottawa. Roughly speaking, the number of COVID patients in hospital has tripled in a roughly 3-week period, and people could see that trend happening. You keep talking about how you were shocked by the 900 new cases that was revealed to you on Thursday night that led to the decision on Friday. But given that other numbers, the hospitalization numbers, were increasing over previous weeks, do you now think that maybe you should have been given some other information sooner to trigger the moves that you made on Friday?
No, another good question, Mike. But it's a difficult decision when you're looking at cases on a Monday that are 500 and they're bouncing back and forth, and you're praying and hoping that we're going to keep this level and everything's going to be fine. And then in a 2-3 day span, they start doubling, and more people in that span are ending up in the hospitals. It's concerning. As much as I hated to do it, I'm always going to follow the Chief Medical Officer of Health's advice and the command table. As Dr. Brown told me the other day when we left our press conference, he said, Premier, there's 70 other people that I work with just under him. And by the way, a lot of them are volunteers. So all the docs out there volunteering, and it's no different than Dr. Williams and Dr. Yaffe. They have all teams, massive teams underneath them. And again, a lot of docs are just volunteering time to help us out. So we appreciate it. But the factors are we have to make sure that we have room and capacity, not only for people with the backlog surgeries, because I believe, and I think I'm right around the figure, 350, 400 beds are taken up for the backlog surgery folks. Once they get a surgery, they may end up in ICU, they may not. And then the balance, we have to make sure we keep open for any severe COVID cases as well. And then we saw the acute care beds being taken up as well. So we just want to make sure. And then, by the way, tie long-term care patients into the hospitals as well. So it's 3 areas and many other areas coming in, but those are the 3 major areas.
Last question.
Your final question comes from Graham Richardson with CTV Ottawa. Please go ahead.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Premier. You may not be surprised by this. I'm certainly not, but I just wanted to get your comments. I keep getting back a lot of people saying this whole thing is fake. This is a hoax.
Yeah.
The health officials and the politicians and the media are lying to people for a variety of reasons. Do you want to say anything about that right now?
Sure.
Because a lot of people believe what they see online, and it's patently false, but it's out there and it seems to be growing in the second wave.
So I'm gonna start off with we have the anti-maskers showing up to my house again, flying the flag upside down, and that's disturbing to say the least. You don't like our country. You want to disrespect the people of this country and the flag. Get going. Take off. Leave. Find another place you can fly your flag upside down. For the media and the government, I'll tell you, the media has been phenomenal. Without the media, we wouldn't be able to get our message out. They've bent over backwards. They've been out there every single day from the beginning, part of the Team Ontario approach by making sure people are getting the message, and following the guidance and the protocols. So the media, you guys are absolute champions. Number 2, elected officials. You're talking to the Premier. There's no hidden agenda. Not from me, not from any of my ministers, no one. It's sheer facts. What I get from the Chief Medical Officer, I will put it right on the table, good, bad, or ugly. And the people that are saying this, I don't even know where they're getting this from. This is real as I'm standing here. You can be a denier, you can be an anti-masker, you can do whatever. This is a democratic country. You can say what you want. But I'm just coming up here and telling you what I know through the facts of the Chief Medical Officer, and I can assure you, our medical team, it's not one person or 2 or 5. It's probably 100 or 200 throwing their advice in, and then Dr. Williams, Dr. Brown, Dr. Yaffe, Dr. Dirk, they all come up and they deliver the message too. I'm going to repeat this again. There is no agenda. I'm the last guy in the world that would put up with that. It just wouldn't happen under my watch. I'm here to protect the people of Ontario, keep them safe. I'm going to protect your families. I'm going to protect your kids at all cost. At all cost. I don't care what it costs to protect the people of this province. I'll break down a brick wall for anyone in this province to protect them, and that's what we're going to continue doing.
Follow up?
Thanks for that. And just a point back to Crawley's question, and it's easy to armchair quarterback. I appreciate that this is not an easy call to make. and you held off pulling the trigger on Ottawa, Peel, and Toronto until the last possible moment, it seems. There were loud calls medically from other places to do that along with Quebec for those three places, to do it closer to them.
The options on the table, but I always take my advice off the chief medical officer and their health team. There's so many, as you said, so many armchair quarterbacks that can sit back and haven't walked a mile in our shoes. And it's easy to say, could have, should have. Do you know what happened? I have some people saying you could have done it a few days earlier. I have the other group that you're talking about, you should have never done it. You should just open up everything and everyone go hog wild. And I have to get the ship down the middle of the lane there and make the best decision that I can. And the best decision was the right decision on Friday when I was briefed. And it was apparent. We have to make moves. We did it once before, folks, when we went through this, when we had a complete shutdown. We were able to get through it and our numbers came down below 100. And then I think everyone, all of us, let our guard down a bit, and then we were back in this situation. So let's just stick together. That's all I'm asking. Stick together, and we'll move forward. We'll get through this together. We will come out stronger than ever before. We will get the economy booming once again, as we did back in January and February. You know, we all have to have hope. We all have to have faith. And nothing can stop us when we work together. And economically, we will turn it on like you've never seen before. We did before, but we're going to continue doing it. And even through all this, you know, terrible news and so on and so forth, I didn't even want to mention it on Friday, but I will mention it to give people hope. You know, all of us together, not the government, all of us together created another 169,000 jobs last month. The job numbers came out last week. Prior to that, there was 140,000. We still have a very long ways to go. I think they told me out of 1.1 million, we have 830 some odd thousand people back to work, but still, in my opinion, that's unacceptable. We have to get everyone back to work, but we can do it, we will do it, and we'll all work together in doing it. So thank you. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.